Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Expendable Show. I am your host, the Expendable. So, I, I got stuck on something this week. I had my last show on Sunday. It's now Wednesday. Um, so I, I try to stay away from X. Okay, so because I get emotionally invested in X because I see every level of stupidity on that side. However, I've spent a little bit of time on there because it does help me see what the temperature gauge of the country is. What are if the conservative influencers on there are going in this direction, then I can see what they're doing, and the liberal influencers are going in this direction, I can see what they're doing. Um, on both sides, I think probably on the liberal side more than the conservative side, there are a lot of paid influencers, like hundreds. And I can show you, my feed right now. Like the first probably 20 tweets are from liberal paid people that get on there and they just say whatever the script's supposed to say. When I get on there, I try to be objective. I try to be, what is the agenda of both sides. I don't like to see the amount of hate that's on X. I think it's counterproductive. So one thing that I have been looking at is a lot of the direct hate speech on X comes from the liberal side. So generally what happens is the liberals will come out with some super hateful comment, and then it makes the conservatives retaliate. And that's usually what happens. And when you dig in, like the community notes will usually come in later and say whatever they said wasn't true. Um, there's so much information on there that just gets thrown around and thrown around and thrown around. And I just hope that everybody that's on there understands that it's there is a lot of misconceptions on there on both sides. So um on the conservative side, most of the time they're just making fun of Biden. Um or or they're just fact checking everything that the liberals do. The hate, the direct hate does come from the liberal side. I think if you spend a lot of time on X, you'll be able to agree with me on that. It's bad. It's bad. The amount of hate. Just to give you a few of the tweets that I saw just today, probably about a half hour ago. Reverend Ray Sistman, who is an African American reverend, he said black people can't be racist. A guy named Captain Obvious, he's always on there spitting all kinds of nonsense. He says, "Dear blacks for Trump, Biden picked the first black woman as VP and the first black woman to the Supreme Court. Trump picked an extremist white evangelical as his VP, and he picked 3 racist white extremists to be on the Supreme Court." Yeah, that's the type of stuff that's on there. The Admiral Levine, which is the transgender admiral, she said weather is racist. Weather, but it's racist. Captain Obvious, again, a little bit later on in the day, said, "If diversity, equity, and inclusion makes you uncomfortable, then you're probably a racist, sexist, and homophobic dumb fuck." That's the kind of stuff that the liberals pour out. And the last one, somebody quoted Joy Behar on The View today, and she said President Trump supporters wearing MAGA hats should just put a swastika on it. There you go. There you go. That now The View is supposed to be a talk show, it's a nationally syndicated talk show. And this is what you have on there. an extreme bias spewing hate. I can't believe that society allows this show to be on TV between Joy Behar, Sunny Hostin, and Whoopi that spew out whatever trash they want to put that comes out of their mouth all the time. They hate everything. I think they're all single. Hmm. I don't know if Sunny is, but those are some of the most miserable people I've ever seen. Just so you know. Um, so we have this going on, and the theme of that is racism. So I want to talk about that today. Being a conservative person, um, I don't like identify myself as a MAGA because I don't want. I'm kind of a lone wolf about things, so I'm not much of a follower. I tend to do what I want to do. I don't allow people to tell me how to think. Um, so and there are things in the in Trump's repertoire that I do not agree with, and but the majority of the time I do. So I consider myself a constitutional conservative. The Constitution is the only thing that matters. It doesn't matter who the president is, as long as they're protecting my rights under the Constitution. That's all I care about. Uh, so when we go into this racism conversation, so it angers me. It angers me on from several different angles. Okay, so for one, if you're on the conservative side and you do exert an extent of racism, you're wrong. You're wrong, and it's time in our society where we need to take that bigotry, we need to take that biasness and that just overall hate and go shove it in your pocket and never look at it again. Because as a society, we're beyond that, and we're never going to correct society and humanity the way that it needs to be done if we keep pulling this out of our pocket. So I urge all of you to sit down and really say what is right for America. Don't look at your own personal differences. You've got two things to answer to. God. God does not require you to be a racist. God requires you to love everyone. So we need to start doing that. For two, country. God and country. They go hand in hand. I don't care what anybody says. Separation of church and state. Yeah, God and country. Okay? Country. Your country expects you to do your duty under the United States Constitution. We need to treat them as such. So let's get better. And I know that we get, as conservatives, we get the finger pointed at us more than anybody because they think we're all a bunch of white supremacists. Even though the Democrat Party is who invented the Ku Klux Klan, they are who enslaved the African Americans. Generally, everything that has ever happened based out of hate in this country has come from the Democrat side of things. That is not hyperbole. It is a fact, and you can go back and fact check me all day on that. So go ahead. Speaking of which, the liberal side of things, it's an atrocity. What they do on Twitter is an atrocity. I'm gonna pick up my phone right now and I'm gonna read you the first thing that's on my Twitter feed. Some lady named Elizabeth Moore 7 said, "I'd rather have the president who isn't a fucking racist." Trump, would you rather have the black president or the white president? That's what she's quoting that Trump would say. Would you rather have the black president or the white president? I think they want the white guy. Trump is a Nazi. When is this going to end? When is it going to end? Biden promised one thing that I paid attention to anyway. All the other crap is just bureaucratic nonsense. But one thing that he said is he was going to turn the temperature down. He was going to bring people together. But he is the most divisive human being that America's ever had. He gets on TV. He calls MAGA racist. He calls MAGA extremist, terrorist. That's not going to help. He says if you don't vote for Joe Biden, you're not black. That's racist. You just expect black people to vote Democrat just because it's Democrat? That's an oppressive statement. And the fact that Joe Biden would say things like that just shows you that he's not that far away from his former behavior and his former opinions on African American people. You can Google that too. Every statement. I documented it in my book. Joe Biden is a decade-long racist. But yet, the finger's pointed at us. If you remember correctly in your history, the Civil War was fought basically from Democrat and Republican. You know where the Democrats were from? The South. Who wanted slavery? The South. Who came down here and stopped it? The Republicans in the North. So we need to understand our history and stop letting influencers twist the truth to create racial divide. Racial divide is all they have. And it's what the plan is to consistently do. The Democrat Party does not want any minority to succeed unless you fall in line with the agenda. I can't imagine. I know a lot of strong black men, and never would I ever imagine that they would just do what the government tells them to do or what some leader tells them to do. Most of them they're gonna march to the beat of their own drum. But for some reason, they're continually pressurized. And here we are, just like I talked in my last podcast. We're it's election cycle politics. They didn't pay no attention to the black community until 2019. And then when Biden got elected, poof, gone. Now here we are in another election cycle. It's not any different. It's not. And we're all falling for it. My goal in life is I want to be able to walk down every street in Atlanta. And if any of you know anything about Atlanta, you'll know that this isn't an easy thing to do. There's parts of Atlanta where white people just can't go. They call Atlanta the Black Mecca here. And it is every bit of that. There are millionaire minorities everywhere here. It kind of gives you a lost perspective of that minority groups do struggle because you see so much wealth and prosperity here. I think if I was a black man, I'd move here in a heartbeat because I have a better opportunity here than anywhere in the planet. However, I want to be able to walk down all these streets and I want to be able to freely find people to love because I want to be that hand that reaches out and say, hey, it ain't all like that. I care and I want success. I want to be able to go to College Park and walk down the neighborhoods and say, hey, let's make it. Let's make it. It's time to make it. And you will never achieve success if you allow this oppressive behavior to keep pulling you back to the depths of the hood. You can make it. The opportunities can be there. You just have to go get it. I always joke with my family members that my middle name's Winning. because no matter what kind of adversity I've ever faced in life, whether I was, too short or, you know, too aggressive or too this or too that, I've always surpassed those expectations and I've come out on top. And so I always joke with everybody that my middle name's Winning because I win all the time. And I would love to just let everyone feel how I feel and win. It's time. It's time to come together. It's been too long. We've been fighting this war for too long. It didn't end at the Civil War. It's come and gone in spurts, and it enhances, then it dies down, then it enhances, then it dies down. Why can't we kill it? Why can't we kill it? We're not going to be able to defeat racism altogether. It's just not possible. There's too many, 340 million people in America. However, it doesn't mean that we have to accept that those people think that way. It doesn't mean that we have to categorize each other in certain categories, whether you're black and you're white and all the white people. One white person said something to me one time, so all white people say that to me. All white people do not say that. I promise you that. There are a lot of people out there that want to see the black community succeed. We want to see the Hispanic community succeed because if you're providing something to this society, you're strengthening it. And we want to see a strong America. We can't do it alone. White people can't do it alone. We need the other groups to come along and to help and to chip in. So we want your success. I want to see a solid black president. Well, we all thought Obama was going to be it, but he ended up not being it. But that guy's still out there. The first real black president is out there. The first black president that's going to take care of the black community is out there. How many times have you heard these politicians go out and say, we're going to do this for the black community? Crickets. You go vote for them, crickets. That time is over. And I'm getting a little upset about it because this is what we get baited with every day in our country. I turn on CNN, I see it. I turn on MSNBC, I see it. Every single media outlet wants to poke the race card. Joy Behar is one of the biggest race baiters on TV, flat out. I talk about it in my last book. She hasn't changed. She hasn't reached out and said, how do we heal this? I used to work at a facility where one of the required things for my job was to read this book called Healing and Racism. And I learned a lot from that book. And I feel like that education can transpire to other people. We don't have to keep living in this sinkhole. Who's prospering because of racial divide? Nobody. When I go walk into and like go by, like down here in Atlanta, there's a lot of Southern Baptist churches that are everywhere. And you see some of the most dedicated Christians, the most dedicated Baptists, people that are living life the right way, all from the black community. And I love talking to them. I run into them all the time, and they're so pleasant and happy. That's the America that we need to be living in, not this racial divide America, not the America that Joe Biden continually tries to cram down our throat. He does not want us to come together. If we are united, we are stronger than government. That's what they fear. They fear us getting along. They fear us interweaving, working together, business partners, a lot of interracial relationships. I've been in them. They don't want to see it. It's got to end, and it's never going to end unless we make it end. If you're a young Hispanic and you're looking for some guidance, and you want, you've got these options. Do I go this way or do I go this way? and your leadership is not there pointing you in that positive direction, you have a high percentage chance of choosing wrong. Same thing in the Black community. If your leadership isn't strong, if we're not coming together and we build ourselves off of hate, the youth is going to continue to follow in those footsteps. We have to do better. And when I get on X, and you know who's doing the most race baiting? You don't see the Hispanics or blacks doing the race baiting on Twitter. It's liberal whites. Why? Because that's their gig. Keep the division going. There's nobody on Twitter on the liberal side that are the paid influencers doing justice to America. They're spewing hate, spewing things that's just going to continue to keep the fight going. I'm not saying conservative America is innocent, because they're just as bad, but they're usually reacting. The baiters are on the liberal side. And if you spend any amount of time on Twitter like I do, you'll see it. It's easy to see. They throw the bait out and wait for the response in hopes that somebody says something extremely radical. And sometimes it works. We have to get better. Stop falling for the race card. Yeah, there's a lot of bad stuff. I can't even begin to sit here and tell you that I understand the struggles in the Black community. I'm not going to be able to do that. I can't. You could sit here and try to explain it to me, but I'm not going to understand. I try to. I want to, but I'm not going to fully grasp that because I don't live it. I live a different life. I live a different way. So I can't. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to respect it. I'm going to respect the struggles that are generational for your families and your bloodlines. I respect that. I respect that those things affect our DNA over time, that our bloodlines react. And we all need to look into that. We all need to understand that people have deep-rooted traumas. Everybody does. It's not just us white people have all these deep-rooted issues, but Black people have them too. And it affects them. And the best thing that we can do as people is to respect each other's struggles. There's nobody on this planet that's not struggling with something. I promise. There's nobody out there waking up every day going, I am 100% perfect all the time. It's not like that. I'm going to urge all of you to take a good look at yourself and look deep down inside and go, do I have racial animosity? And look at yourself in the eye and say, if it's there, it's time for it to go away. Because we're never going to move forward and advance as a society with these roadblocks in our way. What better can be done than to bring people of different backgrounds together in a common understanding? It doesn't have to be a full understanding. It just has to be respect and understanding. It's not going to get any better. Pointing the fingers at each other is not going to get any better. My whole point of this not only is to show my support for unity and what I want to see happen, but to also let everyone understand that we have a bigger problem than race. We have a big government problem. And we're never going to defeat this big government without unity. And so I feel like we need each other. And I hope that need for each other turns into brotherhood and sisterhood. Because we all come from different places. But the war, it doesn't have to keep going. It can stop. And it just takes one person, then it takes two people, then it takes three people, and then it becomes contagious, and everyone will stop. We have to stand up for what's right, and hating on each other is wrong. For one, if you have a religious background, God is not going to want to hear your excuse when you get up to heaven. Why were you so evil to that person? Because of the color of their skin. I created them. Doesn't matter what they look like. They have an arm sticking out of their head. You be kind. Be kind. It's kind of funny. My sister-in-law posted something on Facebook earlier today, and it said "be kind." And I was being a smart ass, so I responded. I said, they tried that with the with video cases back in the day. Say "be kind, rewind." It didn't work out very well. But I believe that humanity is still civil. We can be civil. It doesn't have to be a civil war. It can be civil unity. And that's not going to happen until we all wake up, come together, and say, who's been pulling our strings? It's been the United States government this whole time. And we have to make some things change. Things have to change. We have to change our mindset. We have to change the way that we do things. There shouldn't be places that you can't go down. Like I shouldn't go, back home to my little rural area and have a black person say, I'm a little worried about, going to your little area. That shouldn't happen. We're human beings under God. And don't you all ever forget that, under God. Whether you believe in God or not, God's great. God created us all. If you don't believe in God, it's still a good principle. We're not being very godly out there right now. And it has to get better. I'm tired of getting on Twitter every day and reading hate for humanity. We're better than that. For one, we're the United States of America. And have we not learned from history? United we stand, divided we fall. Every empire that divides their fronts falls. Do you want to be one of the reasons where everybody looks back and go, oh, the 2020s is when those people, they were complete idiots. That's what we're going to get looked at in history. Those are the idiots that cost America their empire. It's not too late to stop it. But we have to come together first. Racial divides isn't worth it. You show me a human being and I'll show you love. I'll show you respect. And I guarantee you it's contagious that you'll give it back. Because people like to feel good. But if you come out on some negativity, you're gonna get negativity back. This is simple human nature. It has nothing to do with race. If you're kind, kindness breeds. So I want all of you to, take on the challenge of doing better. Black, white, Chinese, Asian, Hispanic, people from Antarctica, whatever, alien races down there. Be nice to each other. It's not hard. It's not hard to respect people. It's not hard to show kindness. Even when you might not get a reward in return. We are not here to be rewarded. We are here to make things better. We are here to get right with God. And if you are not being kind, you are not getting right with God. Maybe it's too late, but I'd like to think it's not. I'm not going to stop trying. I'm not going to stop caring about people, human beings. Skin's just a shell. I'm gonna give you good character. It's gonna be up to you what you give back. But I'm still gonna keep giving good character. I'm not gonna let one negative thing impact how I treat everyone. I want to bless all of you out there today, and thank you for listening to my rant. I just felt like that this is the direction that they want us to go, in this divisive direction. I don't want to go that way. I don't. Both sides of the fence. It's time to put the race card down and come together. It doesn't have to be like this in the future. But it takes leadership. It takes positive leadership. Stop it. And all you positive leaders out there, I urge you to take that step and let it spread like wildfire. And that's going to be it for my show today. I want everyone to be safe, know where your kids are at. Um, you know, drive safely. It's vacation time. Everybody be careful. If you're going to the beach, watch out for the sharks. It's the best advice I got for the beach. Other than that, have a good time. Enjoy your summers and be kind to each other. All right. So I'm out. Peace.